How's it going, my favorite people? Dr. Slacking, the Slacking Doctor, back with week 2 of the PGBL, as this week your Bowling Bovines take on Marz King Super, I think it is, and his Los Angeles Landorus. Now, if you didn't check out last week's battle, I'm about to spoil the result. Unfortunately, we did take a narrow loss in that game, so we really want to bounce back with a win here. If you haven't seen the team builder, go ahead and check that out. It should have been up yesterday, which explained the team that we're bringing. Every week is so important in such a short season that we want to win here, and we want to win big if we can. We've got to go all out. Our opponent unfortunately did lose their week one as well, so they're looking to bounce back, which makes it even tougher, but hopefully we can come through with something good in this game. Huge shout out to Elliot, the One, Aquarius, and Sean Blind Messiah, who all helped me mock for this game. Originally when I recorded the team builder, I think at that point only Elliot had, but we basically got delayed playing the game by I think it was like 3 days or something. So because of that, I got a couple more mocks in just to refresh my memory on the team and stuff. So thank you to all of them for their help. They really helped. But quickly to run over the team for those who didn't watch the team builder, we have a Spadef Hydreigon designed to take on a Blacephalon, which hasn't come to this game. We have an Assault Vest trapping Scissor with Pursuit, designed to try and take on that Latios. We have a Nasty Plot Darkinium Z Lucario, designed to bait in and break that Mega Slowbro. Also, the Dark Resist on my opponent's team, as you can see, are few and far between. Which is why Hydreigon and Dark Pulse, or especially Dark Z Lucario, really just go crazy here. Then we have a Heal Bell Cleric kind of Diancie to help support the primary, I guess, Wall Breaker. I say primary because this thing could just go crazy in this game, and that's Pedro our Zapdos here with just the combination of Thunderbolt plus Heat Wave. Hits pretty much all of my opponent's team really well. And then last but not least, we have our counter Mega Zam with enough defense and bulk to be able to take anything but a banded knockoff from Drapion and just counter it back and basically OHKO that thing and remove their one Dark Resist on my opponent's team here to free up Hydreigon and Lucario. So that's the kind of idea of this team. Mega Zam with its speed tier looks fantastic here. Looking at what my opponent brought, barring potential Scarf, Latios, and maybe even Scarf Magnezone with the potential for Magnet Pull, trying to trap the Scissor. If it isn't Scarf Magnezone or it locks in something that can't kill Alakazam, we can potentially Magnet Pull and trap that as well, I believe, which would be fantastic. As I say, Pedro the Zapdos looks like it goes absolutely crazy here. We just spam Thunderbolt and then Heat Wave if the Amoonguss or the Magneton comes in, and that should do a lot. Yes, Lati can kind of wall those, but Lati usually isn't used as a defensive pivot. It might be in this game, we'll have to be careful for that. I think we also have Toxic and Roost so that we can basically just Toxic that Lati and get some recovery off. But other than that, I'm just looking at Hydreigon and thinking how free it looks in this game without the Blacephalon there to pressure it on the defensive side, meaning I need to keep it healthy for a late game Scarf Blacephalon, for example. Without that there to scare me, I can play Hydreigon as recklessly and aggressively as I want, which is incredible because my opponent does not handle Hydreigon at all. Nothing on my opponent's team wants to deal with Hydreigon, so that's what I'm kind of thinking at team preview. I apologize if this recording is not 100% perfect. Huge shout out to Root. Check him out, and of course all the other PGBL coaches, but especially Root. He basically has been teaching me how to record on Citra. So this game I've recorded myself on Citra. My computer is not as good as people like Roots who recorded for me last week. So there is a little bit of lag, some drop frames here and there. We are having to play slightly sped up, so it might look slightly off. I'm figuring it out as we go. Regardless, we lead off with Hydreigon and we click Fire Blast here to get massive damage off on the Amoonguss. If he goes for the Spore, I'm not too concerned. I have Heal Bell Diancie in the back, and also, if anything, this Hydreigon can go to sleep because it isn't as crucial in this matchup as it could have been with that Blacephalon around. If Blacephalon was here, then yeah, we would have been trying to pivot in something else on that Spore there, potentially Zapdos or something else, but I can just stay in here and click Fire Blast again. I don't actually see my opponent having any good way to break a bulky Hydreigon really outside the Latios, so I may as well just burn some sleep turns and eventually I'll get my Hydreigon back awake. I'm going to go into Spotlight here, the Diancie on this thing. This thing shouldn't really be able to touch me unless it's rocking like Earthquake or Iron Tail, and even then I'll be able to take an Earthquake relatively well. I can just go for the Stealth Rocks here because I don't think I'm even too concerned about the Toxic Spikes there. On my team, the immunities to Stealth Rocks far outweigh the ones that have a problem with it. It's really just this Diancie, and if I get this Diancie weakened, then it can't be poisoned, then it can't be put to sleep, so that's something. I mean, you can Heal Bell consistently. Here, I'm just going to go back out into Hydreigon. This looks likely to be like a Giga Drain or something like that, potentially a double, but with Stealth Rocks up, I can really prevent those aggressive doubles using Amoonguss as a pivot like that, and that's something that I want to do. I don't want to just let Amoonguss come in and then double out on my Diancie all the time, getting a ton of momentum, so those Stealth Rocks are also important for that. Now we get Hydreigon back in. Like I say, we can just burn sleep turns against this Amoonguss. It's not really a problem. It can't actually touch me in any way that I can really think of to do damage, so now that we're asleep, we're almost like a free switch into that, especially with our leftovers recovery on there as well, meaning that we stay pretty healthy. I believe here we should go for the Dark Pulse because I don't want to let that Lati in for free. It does look like this would be the more likely switch, but if my opponent wants to get aggressive and go into Lati or even into Mega Slowbro on the Fire Blast prediction, then I'm just going to fire out the Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse still will do sort of 35 to 40 from that Amoonguss. We did see on the first time Fire Blast that the Amoonguss isn't Spadef, so that's fine. And really, if I can get rid of this Drapion here, then I really just free up my late game Alakazam if there isn't Scarf Latios. So every time that he brings in the Drapion, takes rock chips and gives me a little bit of chip off on this thing, maybe if he chooses to keep it in here, then I'm happy. Like, that serves my end game, and he decides to knock off my Diancie, and that's phenomenal for me. This means that when he switches in on rocks and takes a Shadow Ball, probably a second Shadow Ball might KO him. I think we are Modest Sam in this game, so we have a good chance to do a lot of damage to this thing depending on what his spread is and stuff. Here I'm going to pivot back into Hydreigon, expecting him to want to go out into the Amoonguss, and even if he doesn't go out into the Amoonguss, if he just goes for like T-Spikes, that's fine. If he wants to go for the Poison Jab, whatever, it won't do too much. I am pretty bulky. But in general, I think he's either going to Earthquake there or pivot into the Amoonguss. He goes for the second layer of T-Spikes. Again, my Diancie's already got a regular Poison on it, so this doesn't really matter too much for me. There's nothing on my team that wants to stick around for long enough for toxic damage to really rack up, so I don't actually mind the T-Spikes. I'm just going to fire off the Draco Meteor here and take out this Drapion. If you wanted to go into Amoonguss, I would basically just keep that thing really, really low. I expected to see the Lati come out here, but maybe knowing that Scarfing into Draco Meteor if he's a Choice Scarf set, or Spexing himself into Draco Meteor if he's a Choice Spec set, with my Diancie around is a problem. So this really says to me that this is probably a choiced variant of Latios. I don't know if you were any other set like Z or Dragon Dance or Carmide or just anything, a -2 Hydreigon that you know isn't Scarf at this point, because I've changed up my moves, I think. You see my leftovers anyway, so you know I'm not Scarf. To me, then Latios would always be the revenge killer unless you know that you can't choice lock into a move. So at this point, I'm really expecting it to be choice Scarf to try and revenge kill Megazam with Scarf Shadow Ball, or Scarf Draco even. So I'm just going to stay in and fire off the Dark Pulse here. We do find out this thing has the Colbur Berry, which makes sense on a team with so few Dark Resists, but it can't really touch me, right? I can just stay in and keep spamming Dark Pulse, even at -2. He's clearly afraid to go into his Latios, which is his best revenge killer to me, which means that I'm just going to chip down his whole team with my bulk. I might be a little bit more passive now at -2, but he still has so few Dark Pulse switch-ins that I don't mind. You can see here that even at -2, without that Colbur Berry, we're doing so much damage. Fires off the Will-O-Wisp, and this actually is perfect for me because this makes our Rouge here the ideal Amoonguss switch-in. Amoonguss cannot touch me now. It can't put me to sleep. It can't do anything to me, so I'm not going to be heal-belling in this game. I'm going to be leaving this thing burnt. Yes, it cancels out my passive recovery with leftovers, but it just makes me the perfect Amoonguss pivot. Nothing ever has to go to sleep now, which is really, really nice for things like my Zapdos, for example, that otherwise I might have chose to sleep in this game. So we're just going to fire off another Dark Pulse here. As I say, it's getting chip off on everything, and it would probably take out the Coffee Greases if he chose to leave it in. He does go into the Amoonguss, which does chew this up. It makes perfect sense to go to this and preserve the Coffee Greases as a potential offensive sack later in the game, but he's essentially given me his whole Coffee Greases for a burn on my Hydreigon, as we are still at nearly full health. So that exchange really worked out ideally for me. I'm going to go for the Fire Blast here to get some chip off. As you see, that still does maybe 40%, 35%, so it's not bad damage. Certainly, it looked like in my calc that this would be a 3-hit KO to no Spadef. My music's going crazy. To no Spadef Amoonguss, so I thought, well, we'll take the 3-hit KO. This thing can't really touch me. We are Spadef, so as you saw, that Sludge Bomb did nothing. So I'm just like, well, we'll take the 3-hit KO. He clearly just struggles to ever pivot in on this thing, so we may as well just take the damage here. I'm going to change up and go for the Dark Pulse because I don't want to let anything in for free, and this pays off hugely here, catching the Slowbro on the switch in. Like I said, I didn't think he'd want to give me the 3-hit KO on the Amoonguss when he saw his Sludge Bomb was doing nothing to my Spadef Hydreigon, so I felt like he was always going to try and go Lati or Slowbro there on an aggressive switch. And hey, look, if I Dark Pulse and he went for Synthesis with Amoonguss, it wouldn't have mattered. I could still roost up on Amoonguss. It was doing nothing. Oh, do apologize for getting a notification there, but yeah, I can go into Zapdos here because he probably either Ice Beams on my Hydreigon, which would be a little bit of aggressive play, or he pivots out trying to get his Regenerator before he Mega Evolves, or he just slacks off. And I think that the latter is more likely, so I'm just going to go into Zapdos. Yes, I could have just gone for another Dark Pulse and tried to KO this thing. I think it gets a Spadef boost when it Mega Evolves, so I don't think we would have been able to KO it. But also, I may as well get my Hydreigon back to neutral instead of -2 special attack, because look how much work it's been doing with -2 special attack. Imagine how much it would do back at neutral. So this basically gives me my other breaker on the team, Zapdos, to just go crazy here. Like I say, he doesn't have switchness to Zapdos. That Thunderbolt does so much there for a resisted hit to a Bloominamoongus. Like that's a nice little chunk. We can just fire off a Heat Wave here. Assuming we land, we should KO this thing. I know I'm risking being put to sleep here with the Spore, but I'm not even sure Spore is a great play with my Hydreigon in the back as an easy pivot. If I just go into Hydreigon, he then loses a Pokemon because he cannot deal with Hydreigon at neutral special attack. So I felt like the Heat Wave was fairly free. If I got it wrong and I went to sleep, Hydreigon still goes crazy in this game anyway. Here I am going to pivot hard into my Pursuit, Assault vs Scissor. This thing is my dedicated Lati check. He only has the T-Spike up, and he goes for Thunderbolt, and this says to me this thing is almost certainly Scarf. I could try and go into my Hydreigon here, but I figure he might try and double out, fearing the Bullet Punch and knowing that he's doing no damage with Thunderbolt. That damage wasn't Specs damage, by the way, which is why I'm almost certain Scarf. And why would you Scarf into Thunderbolt unless you're fearing the Lati switch in? So I'm basically just going to spam Thunderbolt here, spam Pursuit here to not let him switch out. I don't mind trading my whole Scissor for this thing. This is what Scissor came to the game for, purely for this Latios. And basically now he has no speed control for Mega Alakazam. At this point, I don't know how he can not lose to Mega Alakazam outside of this thing being Scarf. And if this thing is Scarf right now, Scarf's into like HP Fire, for example, Mega Alakazam can come in, trap it, and beat it 1v1 potentially. As it happens, he isn't Scarf, he is slower than my Scissor, so shout out to, I think it was Elliot in the mocks, we figured out that we should add a ton of speed to my Scissor. Oh, he's actually Shiny Magneton, I got that wrong on the layout. I do apologize, I usually try and match it up, the shinies and stuff, but yeah, we were able to just U-turn out on that non-Scarf Magneton there with our speedy Scissor. And get in our Zapdos again. We take that Volt Switch fine. And the key thing about going into Zapdos on that Volt Switch is that even if he chose to Thunderbolt, we would outspeed the next turn and KO with Heat Wave after seeing that our Scissor outsped. And if he chooses to Volt Switch, he has nothing that he can bring in on this thing. The Magneton would be his Electric Resist. So we basically just secure a KO by bringing in our Zapdos here no matter what happens. He can maybe try and go for Hidden Power Fire, of course, on the Scissor, but it doesn't really seem worth it when we were at such a low range of health. So here we can just go for the Heat Wave. So he takes another little bit of Rocks Chip, and it looks likely that we'll be able to KO him with Heat Wave, and it looks also likely that he was failed to KO us with Thunderbolt, potentially because of our slight bulk investment, or quite heavy bulk investment actually. But the Heat Wave does do the job, pick up the KO. I don't know his spread exactly. I'm not sure if he was like in a Violate Spadef spread, he might have been able to take that, but he wasn't. So that nice U-turn chip and Rocks Chip doing the work there for us on the Magneton. And last up becomes Slowbro against this modest Zapdos. Can Pedro pick up the final KO of the game with Thunderbolt? Doesn't look like there's many Slowbro variants that would be able to take this, so we do pick it up there. I believe Zapdos got 4 KOs in this game, obviously coming in towards the late game. It was supposed to be an early game breaker, and it turned out to be more of a late game sweeper, so shout out to Zapdos, just going crazy here once we remove that Lati. Scissor doing exactly what it was brought to do, trapping that Lati and basically just assuring that our Zapdos and Megazam looked incredible in the end game. In general, I think this was a game where my opponent just didn't have a matchup at all, really. Like, I just thought our matchup was phenomenal. Even in all my mocks, you know, my front office are made up of players far superior to me, very elite players, and they were really just couldn't do anything. I think it was just one of those matchups where there was nothing he really could do. It would have taken, yeah, a lot of hacks or whatever to come through here. It's just one of those things sometimes. But it was still up to us to play the matchup out like we did, play very safely, very securely, make no rash plays, and just let our matchup kind of work for us here. And, you know, that definitely happened. That definitely happened. So GG to my man Marz. As I say, a tough one for him, but I'm sure he'll bounce back. I don't see it as him doing a whole lot wrong in this game. Maybe his draft, a couple of trades might help support it a little bit better. He does have a very extreme Ghost and Dark weakness, and maybe there's something he can do about that trades-wise. But otherwise, you know, as I say, plays-wise, he didn't really do a lot wrong. It just he didn't have the game here in matchup, I think. So, regardless, next week we go up against Marolt and his Slovenia Slowbros, another player I have never played before, so very much looking forward to that one. I'm actually playing him tonight as I'm recording this, so yeah, very, very excited for that game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Hope you guys are enjoying the PGBL this season. I know I am. It's a very short season, so every game is going to be so intense. Every win matters so much. Every loss matters so much. So yeah, very, very excited for this. Thank you so much for loafing around with me, and I'll catch you again next time.